Every movie tells a story. Every story tells a tale. Come with us as the people behind the Cinemadness podcast talk candidly about the stories that connect them to their favorite movies. This is Real Stories from the Isles. Have you ever had a movie define you? I'm just kidding. That was the Empire Records intro. I just said before that there are many movies that define you. The movie does not define me. I just thought it'd be a fun way to intro it. It probably failed. So anyway, hey everybody, I'm Adam, if you couldn't tell by my voice. And I want to talk about the second movie in the Firefly trilogy, The Devil's Rejects. This movie came out in 2005? Yes, 2005, I believe, yeah. And it made a big impact on me, which is why I'm talking about it, you know. I wouldn't talk about a movie that I was just like, oh, yep, that was a movie. Unless it was like some big thing. But that's not important right now. I was super excited to go see this movie. I went on opening weekend. I loved House of a Thousand Corpses. If you couldn't tell by my Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode, that I loved. I would love House of a Thousand Corpses because it's basically just a giant love letter to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I really liked the characters in House of a Thousand Corpses, especially Captain Spaulding. Sid Haig was just amazing in that movie. It was great to see a comeback from his exploitation days. In fact, there's quite a few exploitation actors in this movie. In this movie that Rob Zombie decided to make a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, and instead of making it an homage to a specific horror movie, he made it a road picture. And it was completely different. It was completely different feeling, completely different attitude, completely different film stock and lighting. It didn't have that colorful dreamland that House of a Thousand Corpses did. It had all washed out colors, a lot of greens, a lot of yellows, and it was very harsh. It's a very harsh movie. You know, like how the third movie had its many moments of levity, its madcap craziness. This movie was a straight-out horror picture. It was terrifying. The characters were vastly more defined than they were in the previous picture, and they grow on you. Not endearingly. I mean, not really. They're all horrible people. The three of them. It's Baby, Otis, and Captain Spaulding. And you find out more about their past and more about their real characteristics. And you find out what happens when they're not being contained. Like, they're not in the house. They're not under mama and grandpa's supervision. They're let out, and they are terrifying. But at the same time, you are on this trip with them. You are on this journey with them as well. You see them do horrible things. You see them do nice things for each other. You see the family dynamic in it all. And I think that's what makes the movie so impactful, at least to me, is that you don't find yourself relating with the characters, but you don't find yourself seeing them as one-dimensional horror villains. You don't see them as a Leatherface or any of the Sawyer family in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You see them as main characters of a movie. They're the protagonists and the antagonists. In fact, the cop is more of an antagonist than these characters are because he just starts breaking the rules. But this movie really stuck with me. Not because it was so shocking and stuff. I mean, it had some really shocking moments, but it had a lot of heart. And it's hard to talk about a movie that with these characters that are just so terrible having heart, but they do. They genuinely care for each other. They help each other out. And by the end of the movie, There's some really heartbreaking moments. There's some real tense moments, but mostly the scene at the credits, you're finding yourself, I mean, as me as a viewer, I was finding myself really into them trying to escape. I was really into them getting away from the cops, and seeing that wasn't happening, it was breaking my heart. I remember leaving that movie just heartbroken that these horrible killers, these horrible, just awful people didn't get away. Because after the ordeal that they got into towards the end of the movie with the fire and everything, and them just doing everything they can to get out of that fire and get away from the crazy psycho cop, that you wanted them to escape. At least that's how I felt. I find it very easy to connect with main characters in movies. In this movie, it could be a blessing and a curse, but I really felt for those characters, and it stuck with me throughout that weekend. And I had to see it again, and I saw it again, and I still felt the same way. Now there was some levity in the movie. Michael Berryman's scenes in the brothel were good, and the chicken fucker scene was good. The guy from Dawn of the Dead, can't remember his name. He was good in the movie. And you really see Captain Spaulding as a real character. You see Otis as a real character. You see Baby as a real character. You don't see them in their Firefly personas all the time. And that I think that's what changed it forever for some of the fans. Because I know I've talked to a lot of people that absolutely hate this movie. And then I talked to a lot of people that find it the best thing that Rob Zombie's ever done. And I think that's the kind of dividing attitude that you want for making such a divisive story. You want people to hate it. You want people to love it. It's not a middle of the road movie. It's not okay, well, that was an okay movie. No, you either love it or you hate it. And I will accept either side. I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite movie of 2005. And I still watch it. It still affects me every time. I could quote it. I could quote from the beginning to the end, movie and everything in between. I could quote Mama Firefly's the Into Hell monologue, and it still affects me like it did the first time I saw it, because of Zombie's just brilliant eye and his attention to music. He, used the music of the era, and he used the right music for the music of the era. And he has an incredible eye. Whether you like him or not, he has a vision that, it worked for Pee-wee's Playhouse. Why can't it work for his movies? So yeah, that's my take on The Devil's Rejects. It's a movie that I'll never let go of. It's a movie I'll never forget. And it's a movie that makes you, or at least made me, want to love horrible, horrible people and want them to escape the justice that they deserve. And I applaud Rob Zombie for that. That's something that no person should ever do. But in those 2 hours, I found myself cheering on the Fireflies. So I'd like to know what you think of The Devil's Rejects. Are you in the I love it camp or the I hate it camp? Do you think what I'm saying makes sense, or do you think I'm spitting a bunch of hogwash? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. And do you have any other movies that affected you the way I seem to have been affected by Devil's Rejects? I'd like to know that too. Maybe I'll talk about it at another time. Thank you for letting me ramble on about this terrible, wonderful, horrible, great movie. And I will see you on the next round of Real Stories from the Isles. Thank you for joining me. And remember, keep celebrating cinema.